Hello and welcome to my active and passive voice lesson, everyone. Here is our learning objective for the day's lesson. Determine if a sentence is written in active or passive voice. So meaning by the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine and know the steps and know how to determine if a sentence is written in active or passive voice. And you will explain how they determine. So basically, you're not just telling me you know, you're telling me how you know. So, voice in verbs, active and passive voice. So, verbs have voices. Most verbs have active voice because they are active words. Fewer verbs are in a passive voice. Learning the differences will usually help you write strong sentences and understand a writer's meaning. So active voice is when a subject completes the verb. Most verbs are an active voice, and you guys usually already write in active voice. But how do I find it, Miss Welch? How do I know? So to see if a verb is an active voice, start by locating the sentence's subject and verb. And then you ask who or what is completing the object. So you're always looking for the action of the sentence when you're trying to find active or passive voice. So this is our first example. Mom answered the phone. Well, what's the action of the sentence? Well, I'm pretty sure right here it's answered. Who or what answered? Mom. So is the subject, mom, the one completing the verb, answered? Yes. This means it's an active voice. So here's another example. Rylan spilled his juice. What's happening? What's the verb? Spilled. Who spilled? Rylan. Rylan is the subject. So Rylan right here is the subject. Is the subject who or what the sentence is about completing the verb? Yes, because he's the one that spilled his juice. So the dog barked. Well, what's happening in the sentence? What's the verb? Barked. Okay, bark. Woof. Who barked? The dog. Is the subject completing the verb? Is the dog the one who's barking? Yes. What about this third sentence? The assignment was finished by the group. What's happening in the sentence? Finished. Something was finished. Who or what was finished? The assignment. But did the subject, assignment, complete the verb finish? Did the assignment finish itself? Wouldn't that be nice? No, the subject did not complete the verb. Passive voice. Verb in passive voice is when the subject does not complete the verb. So look at the previous sentence. The assignment was finished by the group. Did the assignment finish itself? No. A verb in a passive voice when the subject does not complete the action. Verbs in a passive voice almost always contain a form of to be or have a by prepositional phrase to follow them. So let's work on finding some passive voice. The pizza was made by an employee. So the subject of this first sentence, the verb is was made. Who or what was made? Well, pizza was made. But did the pizza make itself? I don't think so. To change the verb in a passive voice to one in active voice, discover who or what is completing the action. Hint, the doer of the action is normally the object of the preposition. So example 1. The car was driven by George. What's this sentence's verb? Well, I'm going to have to say that that's probably was driven. What's the subject? So who or what is this sentence about? The car. The car was driven. Okay. So how can I switch it to an active voice? The car was driven by George. Well, then we change it to George is the one driving the car. So George is now our subject. So we got to make the sentence about George for it to be an active voice, where your subject be performing the action. George drove the car. The house was vacuumed by Dad. What's the sentence's verb? Well, it was vacuumed. What is the sentence subject? The house. The sentence is about the house, but to change it, the house was vacuumed by Dad. We would probably change that to Dad vacuumed the house. Question número 3. My hair was cut by Melissa. So what's the sentence's verb? Was cut. Okay, but what's the sentence about? Well, it's about my hair. So well, my hair didn't cut itself. So my hair was cut by Melissa. I'm going to switch that to Melissa as the subject. So it should be Melissa cut my hair. So sometimes a sentence written in a passive voice will not have a prepositional phrase at the end. You'll need to decide who or what is completing the action. So for example, the mail was brought into the house. What's the sentence's verb? Well, it was brought. What's the subject is the mail, but who brought the mail in the house? You've got to give it a subject. So Alan, in this case, Alan brought the mail from the house. So in those cases where the mail was brought in the house or the hydro flask was given to Miss Welch, it was stuff like that. You've got to change it around. Miss Welch was given a hydro flask. And let's see what else we've got. So here are your rules for passive voice. So sometimes when they do use passive voice, it's usually used on purpose. It's meant to kind of like remove the subject from the action. But as a writer for you guys should use it sparingly and very intentionally, like with purpose. Typically it does well, like I said, in storytelling or when you're trying to remove a subject from the action. So the use of passive voice when you do not want to bring attention, like I said, to that doer. The gas station on Farmdale Road was burglarized. Use passive voice when you don't know who completed the action. A large donation was left outside the soup kitchen. Use passive voice when the doer is not the most interesting part of the sentence. The cookies are being frosted. Yeah, we don't care who that sentence is about. We care about the cookies. Active or passive. Last night, Dad made a bowl of oatmeal. Well, verb here is made. What was made? A bowl of oatmeal. Who made it? Dad. Well, I'm pretty sure that's active. On the train, the news was read. Well, was read is our verb, but I don't see who was reading it. That's passive. On the train, passengers read the news would be how you change that. You'd have to give it a subject there. Because we had time, our family went on a picnic. So it's an active voice. Why do you need this? Well, you as a writer should be practicing writing in your active voice. And they just tend to exude more action, more feeling, be more direct. And honestly, in basic writing and story writing, academic writing, active voice is expected. So, like I said, use your passive voice rarely to make a statement. And make a note when you see writers using it. Figure out why they're trying to distance the subject from the action. And with that, you guys are going to go ahead and work on your assignment, which is right here. It is a good old handy dandy Pearson worksheet. And in this one, you're going to go ahead and underline the verb in each sentence. And then you're going to determine whether it's active or passive. These sentences down here in these were all written in passive voice. They want you to rewrite them in the active voice. And then same process down here. So in this case, revise each sentence by changing the passive voice to the active voice, or if it's written in active voice, they want you to change it to passive. So with that, my friends, have a great time. I will see you later. Bye, y'all.